When we reflect on the causes and consequences of an event, what kind of words do we use? For example, when we want to talk about the causes of climate change, how do we do this? Let's listen to some people discussing climate change.
Factory farming can create a range of pollution problems. This can drive out or even kill the animals and plants. The range of wastes from factory farms can be particularly problematic. Many of our resources could be put to better use.
Technology to cut emissions from fossil fuels is available and must be used, and utilities must be forced to use it, whatever it may cost them.
That half degree is literally a world of difference, and not a world we really want to live in.
This waste should be properly managed and disposed of.
Yet no government will do what must be done without significant pressure to do so.
Climate change will make farming harder, but we have to act powerfully and quickly. Certain words make it easier to talk about causes and consequences because they express relationships between events. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might. These kind of verbs are called modal verbs. Modal verbs are helping verbs, which give extra information about the verb that they accompany. Each modal verb can express different functions depending upon the context in which it is used. Modal verbs can express nuances like obligation, ability, permission, probability, lack of necessity, possibility, prohibition, and advice. Let's take a closer look at the nuances of modal verbs. Must and must not can express different things. Must, for example, can express strong obligation. You must stop when the traffic lights turn red. Must can also express logical conclusion or certainty. He must be very tired. He's been working all day long. Must not can express prohibition. You must not smoke in the hospital. Can and could can both express different things as well. Can express ability. I can swim. Permission. Can I use your phone, please? Or possibility. Smoking can cause cancer. Could can express ability in the past. When I was younger, I could run fast. Polite permission. Excuse me, could I just say something? Or possibility. It could rain tomorrow. May and might also express different things. May can express permission. May I use your phone, please? Or possibility or probability. It may rain tomorrow. Might can express polite permission. Might I suggest an idea? Or possibility or probability. I might go on a holiday to Australia next year. Need not can express a lack of necessity or the absence of obligation. I need not buy tomatoes. There are plenty of tomatoes in the fridge. Had better can express advice. You'd better revise your lessons. Should or ought to can express different things as well. They can express a 50% obligation. I should see a doctor. I have a terrible headache. Or I ought to see a doctor. I have a terrible headache. It can also express advice. You should or you ought to revise your lessons. Or a logical conclusion. He ought to be very tired. He's been working all day long. Finally, there are two kinds of modal verbs. The first kind is very simple. I will run. I would run. I shall talk. I should talk. I can play. I could play. I may leave. I might leave. I must leave. These sentences are made out of a subject, a modal verb, and an infinitive. For example, the subject can be you, the modal verb can be can, and the infinitive can be swim. You can swim. The second kind goes like this. I want to run. I need to talk. I have to play. I want to leave. I ought to be there. These sentences are made out of a subject, a modal verb, the preposition to, and finally the infinitive. For example, you have to swim. It's important that you remember which modal verbs need the preposition to in front of the infinitive.